It's my birthday, na 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 na. Well, happy 30 to me, boom shakalaka. It's a beautiful day, as I always say. I'm your personal happiness coach, Clint Verghese, and I welcome you to my birthday special podcast. Yay! Well, I've turned 30 today, and what an interesting journey. So much to share, so much to put together. But I thought, why don't I just put in simple words? How did I find my purpose in life? And this is an exciting story. I hope you guys are excited too. So let's gear up. So here's what I start. Before I kind of tell you my story of how I found my purpose, I want you to know how I started my journey. This is the most boring part. People say that I struggled a lot. My hard works are so intense. I had to go through so much of pain. And when it comes to me, I would say that I didn't have to go through any of those pains. I didn't have to work so hard, struggle it out. Because, when you really love what you do, you don't feel the pain. How true is that? If you agree to it, I want you to write in the comments box, I am a hustler. If you are a hustler, point it down. Come on, let me see you write it in the chat box, in the comment box down below. So let me start it. I love to tell the story, and this is what I call the story of the P3 or the 3P story, right? So let me start the story in a very dramatic tone. Drum rolls. Perfect. So, born and raised in an average South Indian middle class family, there are two things that definitely happens to you. First one is that you're fed with values, ethics and morals all day, everywhere for breakfast, lunch and dinner. There you go. Boom. We've said it. I'm sure if you come from a middle class upbringing, born and raised anywhere in India, this is a standard thing that would have happened to you. Every day you wake up, you're reminded of why it's important to live a value and ethical driven life largely. And so was my journey as well. Waking up in the morning, it would start by doing my bed, getting ready and going to the school to do my sports practice, because I was an athlete. For a lot of you guys who wouldn't know, I was a state level champion athlete back in the day. Shot put, discus throw and hammer throw were my expertise, or the field events that I kind of excelled in. And some great times that I've had. I've gone through that whole journey of being a good boy, then being a rebel, and now being the person that I am, Coach Clintz, wanting to help everybody live a happy and motivated life. But if you ask my mom, she would have a distinctively different kind of story that she would want to share. But we're all not the best version of ourselves when we're at home, at least. And if you are one of those people, thumbs ups to you. I think it's a rare breed indeed. If you are, just write it down. Share your thoughts in the comment box, guys. This is going to be a fun interactive session that I have kind of curated. So here's what it is. This is the P3 story, and this begins with the first part, and this is called the story of Penny. And I have to tell you this. I remember going to the church every Sunday, and one of those Sundays with my dad, when I was walking out of the church, there used to be this amazing fair where there would be all sorts of hawkers selling some sugar candies or some air bubbles and all those kind of stuff. And I was always fancied with the idea of getting an opportunity to get those huge ass sugar candies. And I remember asking my dad that, Papa, why don't you get me one of those? And he said, hey, listen, you know what? It's not good for health. It's, it's bad for health. You'll have a bad tummy. And I was like, whoa, man, how is a sugar candy going to spoil my tummy or, get my teeth rotten up? Anyways, I was being a good child and I said, okay, fair enough, Dad. I agree with you. And then we walked ahead and then we saw that air bubble guy and, Those were the days, enjoying blowing the soap bubbles into the air and making those big bubbles, and you would compete with each other. I'm sure in today's times, maybe a lot of the younger generation don't even know what is a soap bubble, but I'm sure they would be masters at playing, like how to create a soap bubble or through an application on phone. The world has become digital and everybody's tech savvy, especially the younger generation, the Gen Z, right? So, he gave me some other reason and he said, it's not good. Why to do this? Why to do that? And that's one of those days that I'd realized early in my life that whatever it is, when I grow up, I will make enough money so that I can blow soap bubbles and I can buy these cotton sugar candies from the street. And, being a naive kid, those were the big fantasies you had. And as you started growing up, you wanted to have those better shoes and jeans and clothing and all sort of accessories that you wanted, which my dad could afford, but he wouldn't afford. And what really happened through that journey is there is one important characteristic that kind of developed in my personality, right? Every time you wanted something, you had to earn it. You wouldn't just get it as a gift, or you wouldn't just get whatever you wanted just because you deserve it or you desire for it. And that kind of built in a lot of resilience, because that taught me that no matter how much ever desires we have in life, we gotta hustle it out to get it. And that kind of just built and evolved into what I call the next part of the story. And this is, the first part is the story of the penny. The second part is the story of passion. Growing up, being a 90s kid and growing up in the college days, it was too cool to follow your passion and make a lifestyle out of it. I remember when in college, if you asked any of the students, everybody would say that I would follow my passion because, what's the point of living a life where you can't enjoy or live it up to the max? And I still agree with all of them. And I was one of those staunch believers in the same thing, and I still am. You got to follow your passion, because what's the point if you can't, right? And here's a very exciting and interesting part. I want you guys to know there is a difference between hobby and there's a difference between passion. Yes. One must understand the basic difference. Hobby is something that you really like to do. So it can be your gardening, singing, or whatever. But when it's passion, you are all in it. You go full power 24-hour to make it happen, because that's what drives you. That's what gives you joy. And when you're really passionate about it, things don't pain you. The process that it takes to become a better version of whatever you want to be, it'll never ever hurt you or pinch you so hard. And that was my journey. So back in college days, studying in St. Xavier's College, bachelor's in arts in ancient Indian culture and archaeology. I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't know that about me as well. What an amazing journey. My expertise were religion and philosophy, and my parents wanted me to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And then, I remember rebelling it out so hard and saying, my mom used to tell me that my father was my grandfather, her father was a farmer, and after doing archaeology, I'm going to become just another urban farmer of a sort. That's what she thought. I'd just keep excavating the ground and try to find things, and so on and so forth. And I remember we used to laugh it off, but eventually I didn't become an archaeologist. I would still want to be able to sharpen my skills and hopefully get certified and trained as an archaeologist. Anyways, that keeping aside. So what I was really passionate was to be on stage, because I realized when I was on stage, I was singing with my band or hosting any events, there was some extra superpower that I got blessed with. The moment I was on stage, I could throw that energy to the audience, and I could kind of dictate them to kind of put their hands up, clap, jump, dance. And that experience was really addictive. I realized the kind of impact that it had on me was tremendous. That high that it gave me drove me to do whatever it took me. Even if I had to travel from one city to the other on a tour without any proper sleep, constantly, traveling, performing on stage, less sleep, high energy, intensities. But, as I said, when you love what you do, it doesn't pain you. And that's the story of passion. I remember going out all wild, and we would jam with the band members late in the night. And a couple of my band members were working as music teachers in the school, so they had a day job. And then we would all, I would go to college, do my masters, graduation and my master's days as well. And then we would have our late night jams. And in fact, there is one of those very crazy incident of how after a late night jam we were caught by the cops just because we were on the street, and they kind of misbehaved with us, was rude with us, because I remember they were a little intoxicated, and then we reverted back, said that, hey, listen, you can't talk to us like that. The resilience of the youth again, the craziness. I wouldn't do that today. I would just be like, sorry sir, galti ho gaya, maaf kar do, thanks for sharing the information. We'll make sure that we don't walk outside the house, or whatever those things were. So, but yeah, one of those crazy incidents where we got locked up that night, and there was some crazy stuff that has happened. I still have the video somewhere in my laptop of constantly recording, and we are like, hey, you can't do this to us. We're going to put this on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to let the world know that this is how the citizens of India are treated, without no respect, and all those crazy things. And looking back, I feel that how much I have really calmed down in life in general. So, the story of passion, right? Things that it would make us do. We eventually performed at India's Got Talent. We were quarterfinalists in 2013-14. We traveled around the world. We went to Maldives representing India. We won Channel V Launchpad, which used to be one of the biggest amateur rock band competitions in the country, and so much more. Traveling across college festivals, winning them, IIT Roorkee, IIT Mumbai, and a lot of them. And it used to be such amazing, great days. And one of the crazy things about performing with the band was I used to always love to stage dives, jump off the stage into the audience, and so on and so forth. And I have some great memories of breaking my knee, tearing my ligaments, getting a lot of injuries, back pain, ankle locks, and so much more. But as I said, when you love something, impossible is nothing. The pain doesn't hit you so hard. And such were the days. And as I started growing up, and this brings us to the exciting part of the story, and this is what I call the story of purpose. The first one, the story of Penny, then the passion, and then the purpose. So, as I grew up, I started realizing a very exciting thing. Every time I was on stage and I felt like an emperor, every time I kind of asked people to jump, dance, sing, live their life fully to the truest potential, I realized it was no more about how I felt. Because now I started looking at how people were feeling. It was not the point of view from how I felt from the stage, but in fact the reverse way around, how they looked at me, and how there was this guy on stage, crazy hair, fancy dress sometimes not, but whatever. He had this power to drive people, to take them away from their inhibitions, their stress in life, all the thoughts that kind of pull them down or keep them occupied for a second or for a couple of minutes or maybe for a couple of hours. This guy had the potential to just kind of transform all that pain away from people's lives. And I became a fan of that guy, because all this while I thought, this guy is me, and it's about my joy, and it's about all of that. And that's why I said it's a story of passion. And when I started looking at the same thing from the audience's perspective, I realized that there is so much more that I can do. The fine line of difference between passion and purpose is very simple. Passion is what you do for yourself, and purpose is whatever you can do for yourself and you're good at, you do it for the world. There you go. As simple as it is. And that kind of gave me it's like saying, if you have a jet plane, right? And you have a pilot, but you need the jet fuel to fly it. Purpose is like the jet fuel. Once you find the purpose in life, it just helps you kind of take off. It just helps you add a lot more value in people's lives. And I remember my granny was, some of the greatest thoughts that I've been influenced by are the wisdom of my grandparents. And I remember such an exciting story. The summer vacations for me used to be all about going to Kerala, spending time with my maternal and paternal family, and it used to be great, chilling with cousins. And my grandfather was a very hard-working farmer from the Malabar region of Kerala. And once, I remember early mornings, he was an early riser. Once you're a school student, back in the days, you're an early riser as well. I wish I was one. I'm working on it. I'm sure at some point we will hit that 6 a.m., 7 a.m. wake up alarm. But keeping the jokes aside, looping it back to the conversation about one fine morning in that beautiful Malabar region in Kerala, I wake up, I see my grandfather up as well. And I ask him, Grandpa, what are you doing? Why are you in the field? What are you doing around and trying to, work around the plants? And he told me, here's what it is. He told me, all right, Clint, what do you think is the difference between a good farmer and a great farmer? He used to love to play these trick questions with me, and I thought, this is some sort of a trick question as well. So I said a good farmer is somebody who produces good quality crop, and a great farmer is someone who produces a lot of good quality crops. Because, the idea of success or the idea of greatness meant you got to do and achieve more. That's what we were taught in school. The highest level of human potential is to be the max at, to be more productive, to be more efficient. And he kind of laughed at me and he told me that I know what your teachers teach you in school and so on and so forth. But he said, hey, a good farmer is definitely the one who produces good crops, hustles it out in the sun, patiently waits for months or for weeks, depending on whatever the crop you're growing, and then, nurtures it, harvests it with a lot of love. But a great farmer is all of that. But who does that? The good farmer does all of that for his family and for himself. And the great farmer is the one who does all of that, but so that his nation lives a healthy life, eats nutritious meal. And I was spellbound. I was like, wow, that's the definition of a great farmer. The one who lives a purpose-driven life, the one who uses his knowledge, his skill set, his mindset to be able to add value in people's lives. Not just, putting a boundary to like, okay, this is for me or my friends or for my family, but for humanity in general. And that kind of remained with me throughout. And I realized that that's the kind of a principle that I apply on myself as well. Whatever knowledge, skill set, mindset that I'm able to curate and produce things out of it, it should have a larger impact to the world. And here's what it is. This is what I call it. My vision in life is to make this world a happier and sustainable place. And I'm on a mission to help people live a happy and motivated life. And, the thing is, will I be able to touch 7 billion lives? That's not the point. But will I work hard? Will I hustle it out thinking that I can make a difference? Sitting at the comfort of my home also in today's times. Just a couple of weeks ago, I gave a TEDx talk sitting from the comfort of my home. Who would have thought a year and a half ago that we could do it? In the first half of 2020, maybe the first May, the Jan and February of 2020, until then, nobody would have thought that this is a possibility, but today it's a possibility. Today we can sit at home, curate content, upload it, publish it across social media platforms, and create a larger impact in people's lives. The thing is, you got to believe in it. You got to keep hustling it out. Resilience is a strong tool. Passion, patience, all of this will add more garnishing to the meal. But it's important to remember, whatever it is, if we live a purpose-driven life, if the larger part of humanity, and this is a very exciting conversation that I had in this TEDx talk recently, which was about how the youth of India can help India become a global superpower in the coming decades. I call it the P framework. It's the PEE framework. And it's very simple. If the youth of the country lives a purpose-driven life, if there is a culture of empathy that is instilled within all of them, and more importantly, if there is a spirit of entrepreneurialism that can be inculcated. Let me get this right. Entrepreneurialism is not about profit and losses. It's not about a number crunching game, quarterly reviews. Yes, I won't deny the fact that these are part of an entrepreneur's life. But the real spirit of entrepreneurialism is the ability to solve people's problem. The biggest of the companies and brands in the world are the ones who have created an impact in people's lives by solving some of the basic to the most advanced problems in their lives. And in today's times, with the way how technology has reached to the most remotest of the places in India, I truly believe if we are able to live a purpose-driven life, if we can instill a culture of empathy in the youth of the country, and we focus and direct them with a spirit of entrepreneurialism, it won't be longer. It won't take us long till when we see India become a global superpower. Let me just redefine what a global superpower is. It's not about being the most powerful country in the sense that, where aliens come and attack. It's not the idea of becoming a New York, sort of like a USA in that sense. But so if we define what a global superpower is, let's look at it in simple ways. A global superpower is a country that can have that can project power or create or have a larger impact in the world on the basis of 4 parameters: economy, technology, military power, and socio-cultural impact. Yes. And in today's times, we all know about, the kind of impact India is having across all these 4 categories around the world. I'm going to loop in the TEDx video. The link is going to be given below. Just check it out. I've talked about it in detail. I don't want to stress out all those points right now, right here, because it's just a fun, interactive chat. So here's what it is. Just a quick question. If you truly believe that India can become a global superpower in the next couple of decades, I want you to write India, the global superpower, in the comment box. And if you think not, then please do share what are your concerns. It'd be a fun jam session to chat in the comment box. Whatever you write it down, I'll ensure that I try to go to the comment and reply to your comments as well. On that note, now the point is, what is the way ahead? I've turned 30. What's the plan of action? I will continue to live a purpose-driven life. I will make sure that I'll do whatever it takes to help people live a happy and motivated life. Because that's my purpose in life, I've realized. And of course, there are days that you don't feel enough motivated to make things happen. And I feel those are the most exciting days, because that's the real challenge that you've been posed with. The day when you don't feel like moving, can you make the move? That's the real deal question. And if you can, it's like building that extra block of resilience within yourself. You've built your endurance to such a level that you can take that hit, that emotional, mental hit, but still keep working. And that's what living a purpose-driven life does. Well, I truly believe you enjoyed watching this podcast. It's a quick, short one. Not too much of a question and answer segment sort of a thing, but just wanted to come clean on some of my thoughts in my heart and just put it through. Of course, there's a lot more to talk. 30 years of life can't be engulfed or put together in just like a 30, 40 minute of a podcast. How long are we? Whatever the duration is. But one thing I can tell you for sure, right? If you believe in yourself, if you keep continuing the hustle, no matter what, even if the world doesn't believe in you, your friends, your families don't believe in you, if you believe in yourself, just keep the hustle on. Because there will be one day when you would have achieved what you want. And when you would look back, you would be proud of what you did. You would be super happy. You might have tears in your eyes, or you might have a smile on your face. No matter what it is, just keep the hustle going on. Don't give up. Because if you give up, who will fulfill your dreams? So that's about it. I think not much to discuss more. All that I would say is keep smiling, keep spreading smiles, and stay happy. Just to end it with, and something that I've been constantly saying this, and this is something my granny had once told me, our life is a symphony orchestrated by the blessings of our parents, teachings of our teachers, and support of our friends. And it's when all of this comes together, we're able to do the things that we want, achieve the heights that we want to, jump over those hurdles that has been bothering us. All of these elements come together. I don't believe in the idea of a one-man, one-woman army, because it's literally taking away all the conscious and unconscious efforts put by all these people whose contribution in your life adds up to a lot more. On that note, you guys keep smiling, keep spreading smiles, and stay happy. I'm going to see you in the next episode of the Engage and Inspire podcast. If you really felt moved by any segment in this podcast, please write it down. Let me know what part of this podcast really moved you. What part of the podcast what conversation in this podcast kind of helped you just look at yourself and just remind yourself that, hey, you know what? Even if it's a tough day, it's okay. we're going to keep hustling. We're going to make it happen. We're going to live a purpose-driven life. We will have a spirit of entrepreneurialism where we look at all the challenges, look at it as an opportunity to grow, to evolve, and build a mindset that helps you jump over all sorts of hurdles, climb all the Mount Everests that we have in front of us. Until then, you guys keep smiling, keep spreading smiles, and stay happy. I'm going to see you in the next episode.